Bonjour. Hello. Hola. If you're here in the chat, drop a like, well, drop a 1 in the chat, or come say hello. Let's see who's here. Let's see who's early with me today. Is anybody there? Hello. What's up, Marie? Straight in. Early bird every time. How are you? I'm a little bit early this week. Only because it's a shorter stream. But earlier. Is it Shersey? Shersey? Hello to you too. Right, let's actually switch this around and draw what I mentioned I'm going to draw. So I've already previously sort of, in a way, rehearsed this in a sense. What's up, Kevin? How are you? It's going to be the, again, this is really starting to annoy me how bright this becomes in comparison to actually what it looks like. But I've got to get one more design done for the end of June for Patreon, and I want to do a 3D design based on the Rolling Stones logo. If you were here last week, you would have seen me draw. Let's show you what I drew last week. This sign here, where I got into making a few elements 3D. My particular favourite was the Instagram logo, especially down in this corner. Something about this corner, just how 3D and sort of metal, very reflective it looks. I really like how that came out. And also with, I don't like the colour of the neon on top, but it's meant to be neon, but it doesn't quite look like it. Of course, down here it looks far more sort of neon. But also the elevation between the bars and the actual item it's sat on, so just creating some depth. So that's something I kind of want to reflect in the Rolling Stones logo as well. Also little elements like this, sort of the 3D effect to this. So try and reflect little bits like that really in the Rolling Stones logo instead. So I'm going to switch this out, and like I mentioned, this will be a tutorial at the end of June now for Patreon, because we've had our 3 for Patreon this month so far, and then we'll move into the next lot. Milo's here. Kevin, you're good. Awesome, good to hear. And yeah, I'm very well, thank you for asking. What's up, JM? Milo's here as well. How you doing? JM says, I wish you all a beautiful evening. Have a wonderful evening yourself. Wonderful morning, noon, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this one together. Have some fun, just practice around with some different sort of 3D effects, using the original as, of course, the template. Should tell the kids. I'm waiting for the first person to come in and go, oh yeah, I've seen that on a t-shirt in Primark or something like that, you know. I do have the Rolling Stones logo tattooed on the inside of my arm. tell you what, let's get straight into it. So there's certain things I have to bear in mind making sort of a 3D sign like this, so I'll try and talk you through them as we go through. I used to listen to the Stones with my dad all the time. He used to love playing them. I think that's a little bit why I was inspired to sort of do this today, because I was listening to a lot of the music today, so I think that's popped up in my mind fresh to do something a little bit like this. Oh, so Creslin, how are you? Oh, nearly went a little bit. So earlier on today, when I first drew this, I didn't have my glove on, and I never draw without it, and it feels so different, and also I get so many more accidental sort of undos on the screen. I get it all the time without the glove, but with it, nothing. Happy Wednesday to you too. Like I mentioned, I'm on a little, well, first thing of the stream, on a little bit earlier, but also not on for a great amount of time. This will be the one design we end up doing, so if you're hanging around with us now, this will be the one design we end up completing today. I always like the idea of like turning, you know, pre-made logos and stuff into something new and something different, something cool with your own sort of flavor on it. So what I'm going to do is, my concept is to not create the white areas, but to use white neon bars to create that look. I just need to go in here into the gaps and accommodate for the design a little bit more. So nice cutaway into there. I think a nice smooth cutaway into here too. Create a nice arc. Let that run out. What's up, Arturus? How are you doing? Everybody put your favourite Stones album here, Exile on the Main Street. I can't name an album. I can give you a few songs, like Satisfaction, Brown Sugar, Gimme Shelter. There are a few of the common ones that I would listen to. So, that's the base shape done. I'm not going to do, again, the white areas of the logo. I just want to do them in sort of white neon lines, so we'll do exactly that. I'm gonna actually just, stabilization is at 50. I'm gonna go, well, it's probably a bit too much. Stabilization's really sort of hit and miss. I'm gonna go back down to 50. I don't want to change. Just leave it how it was. And then, being a neon design, I'm going to start to make sure I accommodate for little gaps here and there in the bars. Patricia just joined the family over on Patreon. Let's all have a round of applause in the chat for Patricia. If you're here, I appreciate you joining the family over on Patreon. And enjoy the tutorials. Cool. So again, just trying to make sure I leave those gaps in the logo here and there. something like that. It's annoying that this is like slightly skew a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, everybody, show some love in the chat for a new Patreon member. Is that early stones at me, Kevin? JM says, Joel Crate, just out of wonder, since when do you draw, or how long have you been drawing? Oh, since when do you... Okay, go on with you. Okay, so full clarity, I got my iPad in the pandemic, so roughly around about, roughly, what would that be, 2020? It was my little lockdown purchase to stop myself going insane, like everybody. And so Procreate wise, mid to late 2020, I believe. Wait, when was it? If the YouTube channel's a year old this year, I started it in 21. Oh, I'll tell you what. No, I got my iPad then. Yeah, okay. So I got my iPad in 2020. I made my first TikTok December 31st that year, 2020, into 2021. The channel was then created in early 2021, and then is now a year old. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just plan out the timeline in my head. So, give you a full story. Back in the day when I was younger, I used to, use Photoshop all the time to create designs. Back when Bebo used to be around, if anybody remembers Bebo at all. I used to make skins on Bebo. So I've always been into like digital editing or creation in some way. And then so Photoshop into, well, not a lot really other than Photoshop. Back in the day, just using that. Oh, and GIMP as well. You could use GIMP. That's a free tool. And then so like I've kind of always had like an artistic side, but it's always been shown in different areas. In terms of when I was at school, I used to like paint and stuff, more traditional. And then when I started getting involved into like doing the skins and stuff on Bebo, so about 15, 16, then it was all digital. And then I moved from digital, carried on with digital all the way through, and I've always been doing something, whether it's on Photoshop. My job my day-to-day job is to create websites and apps and stuff. So I'm always doing some sort of digital art in some sort of form or creation. And then nowadays, of course, Procreate. But it's really interesting because a lot of the principles still apply, like layers, mate. Layers can also sort of be quite closely related, I guess, to like Photoshop. Like layers can be a little bit tricky depending on how your background and stuff, if you've not used it before, but understanding sort of the stacking and stuff. That's a simple thing. And but a lot of the stuff I know from that comes across into here. So my day job, I create apps and websites. So always doing something creative. I also like sort of photography as well. I like to do my photography wherever I can. I'm always the one behind the camera, unfortunately, but that is my curse for wanting to do it all the time. Haven't heard that in so long. In terms of an insult or the program, used to get thrown around at school a lot. Can I get this done in one movement? Seems like a bit of a risky line to try and do. Just about giving myself some base here, trying to make sure the gap stays nice and even. Don't rush the line, just get it into position, somewhat like that. Favorite motive to shoot? What do you mean? When I say photography, like I'm always, I don't know, I'll capture anything, just very casual, nothing too serious. I like my videography as well. For example, there's all of my friends, we haven't done it this year simply because we have like weddings amongst us and stuff, but we go on a yearly trip and I'm always the one behind the camera, always recording, because I like it. I like to record and capture the weekend and then put it into like a nice little video for everyone. It's more so for me, I don't really give a damn if they like it or not, but it's more for me. I enjoy doing it. That was a tough line, that one, but it'll work out. It's going to take a little bit just to get the lines just right. They're such quite long lines, so we'll... Piku, why did you choose Procreate to do digital art, not other apps? I like I said, back in the day, I used to sort of draw and paint and do traditional art, and getting an iPad, I love my gadgets and stuff, so I wanted the Apple Pencil, and Procreate's not very expensive either, and it's very super intuitive, so I thought, oh, it'd be just something fun just to do in spare time, and then it turned into all of this, so very good purchase all around. I think Marie just said that, didn't you? Oh no, you thought it was earlier than 2020. No, I think I got my iPad in 2020, but was drawing sort of, you know, myself. Not drawing myself, drawing, you know, for myself, should I say. No, privately. I was always intending on using the iPad for drawing. That line's a little bit too close. When I do a long sweeping line like this, have you ever seen there'll be particular artists who paint on, say, cars, and they do like line work with like the very long brushes, and you see them like with their hand like this in terms of the technique and just going across the body of the car, and they are like so precise, so clean. That's what it feels like every time you do like a long sweeping line. You could just, your hand isn't necessarily moving, you're just dragging it backwards across the desk. That's all you're doing. That line was awful towards the end. They're unbelievable talents, they are. People that do that. Do you know what that would do for a minute? So I think we've got everything line work wise in there. That's cool. We've got some really cool ideas of what I want to do with this. The first thing is to actually, first of all, make this 3D, but I also want to try and do something different. Again, I always say to you guys is, if you can learn to do something a little bit different, even if you're repeating the process, if you try to add one extra element here and there, you can take your designs always to a next level. If you just learn to create one extra different thing when you do it the next time, and then that becomes part of your repertoire every time you do something like this. So for me today, the only thing I'm going to do is just add like if it's a 3D object, and I'm going to create the depth here, such as dragging this down and creating the 3D, you know, side to it. What I also want to try and achieve is on the top, on the top edge, create a little chamfered edge. So it's like, if the top edge is flat, then it's got like a 90-degree chamfered edge all the way around, and then it goes straight down. So we're adding another element. And again, this is just one of those things where you can start, like I said, do something different each time you do it, even if you're just repeating yourself. If you're drawing the same thing, do something different. See if you can introduce new little bits here and there, and you'll definitely be able to take your designs to another level by just practice. And that's how you, like I say, you build up that repertoire of really awesome little bits here and there that could take it to the next level. Charlie. So I just got to link up all my corners here. I think that's everything. Cool. And then so you discover Procreate, iPad for work. Yeah, I mean these days, especially with universal control and stuff, integrating it into your can you see him just behind me? Keeping guard. Oh no, I'm just gonna set your dogs off now. You got scared. Wait, so how am I going to do this? I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm just going to make it darker colour for a minute. And then I think all I need to do is just scale this up here, and that should be enough for me to just create a bit of a chamfered edge on top. It should literally be all I need to do. Drag that back in. That looks good here. It looks fine in here. But here it just looks like it could be linked up a little bit, so I'm going to have to adjust the original layer. And that original base layer as well. Cool. So that's just going to add that little extra bit just to show it's a little bit more 3D. Yeah, Marie says, I've tried many apps, but Procreate always comes out on top for me. Been using it since before you can add text. Oh, sweet. Dog's not broken. Let's grab a slightly darker tone for this base layer. Then I can grab this color here for this one. And then go back to the original color for the top one. Okay, cool. I want that to be a little bit darker because eventually, again, I'm looking at the camera now, and I don't know if it's my monitor, but that looks super bright and punchy, but it doesn't look anything like that. Okay, so then we've got the line work on top, ready to go. So, first things first, background. Let's turn off the original. Let's just add a little bit of color in the background. Did this last week and I really enjoyed it. Just a big sort of, just very loose bit of color just in the background. And then at the top here will be white. It's a little bit like that. Again, it really bugs me how it comes out on the screen for you. It doesn't look like that. It's a lot softer. It's not quite as bright as that. I think what I'm going to have to do is build up the... Let's build up the 3D effect first. Let's see what we can come up with first on this layer here at the bottom. I'm going to imagine there's like a light source maybe coming from the top edge, so it gives me something to work with. Kristen says, my tattoo artist and our graphic designer at work both recommend Procreate and an iPad Pro. Seems like everybody just likes it. Also, I went with it too. My tattoo artist who I saw, because I got a new tattoo yesterday, he also has an iPad Pro, Procreate. He also showed me some other details he uses. So, Deadman says, thank you for teaching us how to use Procreate. I created a sticker for my podcast. Oh, that's sick. What's my name? Is that me? Procreate is super easy to use, super intuitive. Now, I don't want to introduce too many colours, but I feel I'm going to have to potentially, just to get this to look how I want it to. So I'm just going to darken up this edge here. Oh, you're absolutely right, Kevin. I mean, the Apple Pencil is a fantastic piece of equipment. It's so easy to use that you get everything out of it. I don't know if you remember, but there was a brief moment where on the Discord where I mentioned I'd bought the Logitech crayon and I was going to do a review. Now, truth be told, I got it out of the packet, had a go with it. It was awful. Like, no offense to anybody who's got it, but in comparison to the Apple Pencil, it's just nowhere near. I couldn't even make a review comparing it to the Apple Pencil. That's how it felt, because it just doesn't compete. Like the pressure sensitivity of the Apple Pencil, all that sort of stuff, it's just top tier. So you can see I'm starting to just add in a little bit of the sort of the foundations of how this is going to look. Once I start to introduce some of the brighter tones, I think this is going to come to life a little bit more. Bright edge on the top of that, like that. That's already going to start to get into that little chromatic look that we want. Oof. Love those. I love these double gloss shadows. So you just add like a double reflection there, like that, and then maybe blend this one out a little bit, like so. And that just, oh god, it looks good. Ooh yeah. Let's just gloss over around the bottom edge here, add in a brighter touch, and then in this area here. This is very much the same as the samurai tutorial. If you've done that one on my Patreon, get that real nice chromatic look. Just using a wavy motion of your hand. Straight away, once you go over your sort of foundation shadows and you start to introduce these brighter tones in here, look at that. Oh, again, is there any way I can fix this? Because that looks so bright. What if I overdo the brightness so it has to readjust? No. Might just have to drop it down a little bit. That's a little bit closer to what I'm seeing, although it's very dark now, I can't really see it. I might do a better job. Try that. See how that looks. Oh, Kevin, absolutely. I mean, what Kevin said there is I couldn't get close to what I can do now when I had the paper with the paper. I had the paper app and their pencil. Okay. Deadman says, a few friends of mine were trying to convince me to go with Wacom. Yep. And decided to go with the iPad and Apple Pencil. The thing is with the Wacom, it's very hyper-focused, very much for that niche of people. And that's fine, if that's all you're going to do. Otherwise, an iPad, you know, chill in bed, watch YouTube, you know, all that sort of good stuff. Just whatever you want to do, but, you know, it's still an iPad. So at least you get a best of both. I don't doubt that the more specialized content products maybe have a little extra feature here and there that are better for the, you know, the whole initial process, but the whole process, should I say? But reality is, if you're just casual, it don't really matter too much. It's 1 AM. I'm watching your live stream. Damn, where are you? If it's only 8 o'clock here, you must be, what's that, 5 hours ahead. Where he says, I had a Wacom, used it on connection with my computer. It was good for a bit, but there were so many limitations. Yeah, I guess it also comes down to preference, doesn't it, on top of that? You know, not just the casual side of it. If there are limitations and it doesn't particularly work for your workflow, then yeah, it might not be the one. Oh, here it's missing a huge amount of light. Oh, that's looking nice. I'll share this on Instagram and stuff later, so you can see the final product, so you can see it properly against what it should look like, not what the stream is looking like. If I hadn't got engaged, I think I would have maybe thought about investing in a camera, like a proper camera. But you know, there are more important things now, Yas. In India. Gotcha. Well, thanks for tuning in. So getting a little bit braver here. We're just thinking about where I can drop in these highlight edges, if at all. I'm going to undo that a second because I want it to only come from the sides that are nice and bright. So around this corner here and then down there, and then reintroduce it here where the highlight comes back in, and just let that run out. I should have taken up David Kim's offer. Does anybody remember that? David Kim came in and was like, my camera died, I think it was, and he offered to buy me a camera. I said no. Should have shook his hand there and then, shouldn't I? Kristen, Joel, what's your favourite part about drawing, shading, colouring, line work? My favourite part is just the part that we're doing now, right? So you take a flat image from this, like, I know I'm not even anywhere near through this, but you take a flat image from that to something a bit more like this, and how it comes to life. Your base shadows and your base highlights are just fundamental, and then after that you can create something really, really cool. So I would say that the part where you start to see it really come to life with your, and how your highlights and shadows actually come together to make like a 3D object like this one. So that's probably my answer on that one. The moment it comes to life, especially like painting landscapes and stuff, like especially when you see a landscape and I don't know, you start to introduce the shadows and highlights on the side of like a hillside or something, and it's at that point everything starts to come together quite nicely. Let's see, this is now coming together really, really nicely. I'm going to move on to the chamfered edge now and just kind of repeat the same process, but it's at an angle this time. That's your favorite too. Also the most challenging for me, but also fun to watch it come to life. Definitely. And it's just something I try to like talk about all the time. Is it is very much a process. Like, you're not going to drop this shadow in right now and it, you know, miraculously come to life. You know, it is very much a process. It's gonna, you have to put, I always call them foundation shadows or fundamental shadows and highlights, because that's what they really are. They really are just that extra step just before it comes to life. Now I've just noticed here, there's just a little bit here I just need to link up, so I'm gonna just do that quickly. So this is, like I said, this is eventually going to be my goal for the final tutorial of June for Patreon. Patreon tutorials are, the other two are already shot, edited, uploaded, ready to go. So that's cool. I always love getting ahead of myself. I say this all the time on stream, but I love getting ahead of myself with the tutorials. Why is this not showing? Let's just see if I get some shadow under there. Let that run down here very lightly. Your ability to create this light, Joe, is amazing. Oh, thanks, Marie. I appreciate that. Coming together. Definitely nearly there on this edge anyway, but just bringing it all together. But every time, again, it's foundation shadow. Then you can go straight into your darker shadows, kind of like I'm already doing. But otherwise, foundation shadow. That lets you know where you're placing it. It's, the foundation part is literally just to say to yourself, oh, what? I've missed a bit. That's not what you meant to say to yourself. Is to say, you're kind of like mapping it out for yourself when you get to the steps of being like, okay, oh, okay, that's where my highlights are. Okay, cool. Okay, that's where my shadows are. And then you layer them on top again and just increase them. Okay, so I know so to give you some idea, I think I've got like a light source somewhat down here at the bottom, which is why you're seeing these little brighter edges on the bottom right side of everything. And then I'm also imagining there's a light source above, so you've got a double light source and then shadows in between. It's kind of not logistically correct, technically, how I'm actually doing it right now, but in terms of, it wouldn't really look like that. But I don't care. And Milo says the new doodle challenge is on Joel's Discord. Don't forget and like the video. Absolutely, both things. If you can like the video, folks, that'd be awesome. And if you want to get involved in our doodle challenge, there's a link in the description down below to come and join in with the doodle challenge. Also, just as I'm going around, forgetting that I'm missing certain bits, like just in here, which then just very quickly gloss over that top edge. A little bit more in there, maybe. Bingo. Don't think I bothered doing anything in there. No, I didn't. That's cool. Right, have I missed anything? Don't think I have yet. Maybe a little bit in there. Maybe the tiniest bit over the top. So that's that layer in. Let's go with the slightly darker shadows now. This color. Let's really darken. I try to really create that chamfered look. The metal, a little bit like that. I'll come back to that in a second. Because I'm putting in the shadows, and you always do your shadows first as well, so that you can overlap with your highlights afterwards. here. Just got to introduce some darker tone down this edge. Nice. In here we can go pretty dark in there, and under here as well we can go pretty dark. But as I mentioned, like Maria said, like it's such a again, it's just a practicing. I've done this so many times now for Patreon, and you know, like other tutorials are just creating these little effects, and then they become part of your repertoire, like I said. And this whole style of maybe creating the chamfered look comes from that samurai design. So all of us together are building up our sort of catalogue of things that we can do to a design that just gives it little extra features here and there. So that's already come into life quite nicely. This top edge, I'm just going to darken this up a little bit, and I think this will be a tutorial minus the chamfered edge, and at the end I'll show you the one I practice with. It's going to add too much of a long tutorial. It's going to make it too long, should I say. That recent brush section is just the best. It's so good. So now I'm going to get into my highlights again, but this time with the base highlight color. And then just bring that edge over the top as well, like that. And we can take a look at all the brighter areas so we know where the light's coming from, and just maybe just flush them out a little bit more. Little bits in there, a little bit on here too. This will all look way more sort of impressive, I guess, when the main highlights go on. But for now, I'm just trying to isolate the areas that need to be a little brighter, just like this edge here and this edge here. Marie, how's the YouTube doing? My sensei. I've still not managed to sort that Instagram thing out. I just get an error at the minute to say it's not currently available. Instagram, yeah, it's not currently available. Come and try again. So I keep trying and just keep waiting. It's a shame as well because I had a couple of videos do really well in terms of views. Ooh, that's coming together nice. Oh please. Well, what's up? Wait, I've forgotten what I said. What did I ask? I said, how's the YouTube going? Oh, Sensei, I'm with you, I do this every week, don't I? I just forget what I'm even talking about. Is it not? I've heard a few people say it's actually not that bad though for money. I mean, we don't have to get into figures and stuff, but that's interesting to hear. It's got to be better than TikTok though, because TikTok's just dreadful for creators. If anybody watching thinks that you can, like, you know, make a living off TikTok, you're off your head. It's crazy. Look how nice that's looking. Look how cool that looks now. Just that nice. Gone for a brighter tone on this edge because I want the top to be nice and bright. And then on the top, we'll move straight to this. I'm not going to do a great deal on this, to be honest. I'm going to just, in certain areas, just brighten up little edges, maybe. Put like a gloss straight across, just to make it look a little bit bright, like a little bit. Because the neon in a second needs darker tones to bounce off of, so I'll actually do that now. You got $100 for your first reel, and you got 100 for your first reel and 3 cents for the couple, regardless of place. I mean, $100 ain't that bad. I just realised my line work now is going to be off because I moved this top edge. Let's move that back into position, like so. Oh, this is going to look real tasty. You can see how that's already coming together quite nicely, can't you? How that 3D sort of metal look to the sign's going to start to really look cool against the neon lines. Okay, let's do the white ones first, I think. Yep. Like I said, this is going to be the only design I do today, but I want to practice it again because it's definitely something I want to add to the Patreon catalogue of tutorials. But my other reels had more plays. Something isn't right. Interesting. I wonder if it comes down to like a YouTube style where your CPM is very different in different countries. So if you had a lot of views in one country, they could be worth more. And that's actually the same for TikTok as well. There's also another little thing I'm going to do in today's design of a neon design that I've not done previously, and I'll show you what to do. Nah, big brain, big brain. I can't remember what I did earlier with this though, because this colour didn't quite look right, and I think I adjusted it afterwards. Let's try this. I can already see that this colour is just not the one. I don't know what I did earlier. No, not that. Thank you, Milo. Appreciate that. I've definitely misdone the lines here, and I can't remember what colour I set them to. I think it might be this. I think I did, because that looks a lot. And then I just added that. You can already see red is red is a very, very hard colour to use for neon. It doesn't work in the same way. You have to really saturate it for it to look good, which is why you always see neon in certain colours, like in terms of design work, blues, pinks, purples, those sort of tones. But the traditional signs, I guess, in like China and stuff, they're all very much red a lot of the time. I wonder if I wonder if it's on purpose. I wonder if it is because it's not quite so bright, therefore it doesn't impede on like people that, you know, live near it. Still visible, but so we're gonna roll with this color and see how it comes out. I see it's already going a bit mad, and I think already if I alpha lock this to the correct color, which I think was this one. See, that's not right. I think it's got to be like up here somewhere. Let's try this. We'll try that. Let's see how this comes out. When I add the little extra bits closer to the actual sign, I think it will look pretty good. That looks okay, but red is just so tricky to use. Very tricky. Very, very tricky. And I don't want the white to be taken away from the red. The white needs to be brighter, so I can't go too close to that. I think that's as bright as a tone as I could get. So the only thing I will do is I'll move on to the next step and leave it as is, which there is actually a step to do, which is this one here, where you then grab darker than this top color, which I think is this one here, and fill in any gaps with a darker tone. It will help the red So darken up the inside of there. And anywhere with a considerable gap, just darken up the inside. A little bit in there maybe, a little bit down here, a little bit through this gap. And you can only really do this step once the neon's been done. That helps a lot. That helps a lot with the red. One thing I really like about this particular bit is the teeth. In the actual Rolling Stones logo, they are obviously attached and there's like a red mouth on the inside as well. Turn that back on. So like there, they're actually just solid teeth. But instead we've gone and sort of changed it up and made it our own with the teeth there. You could potentially actually just create the full teeth and create the top line as well. But I think it looks pretty cool as it is. It's kind of different. Maybe in the final version I would. I don't know. Okay, cool. The cool thing to do then also is to have the neon stand off of the sign, so there's a gap between the sign and the neon itself. So if this is the white neon, you can see I've already created a duplicate, and I'll do the same with this one as well. And I've shown you this before, just creating that little shadow underneath, and especially in this type of thing where you have such a big space, it's going to look really cool. So you can probably pinch those two together and just do it on one layer. Go here, Gaussian blur. Just do about 4%. That should be fine. Lower the opacity down a smidge. Let's move that to here and unclip that. And so, I believe if we zoom out of here, and then we push this up to this edge here, we leave that shadow edge underneath. And for me, it always makes this I think Kreslin asked me the question earlier of what's one of my favorite points. It's something like this. You can see if I zoom in a little bit, it looks really flat. I mean, it still looks like the neon sort of sits on top, but it's not quite there yet. But the second you just grab this and you move it up to the right, you leave that shadow in behind you, let it step off, let it be nice and clear, let it go clear of the actual boundary. So you see there, it nicely floats way above the design. That's one of my favorite bits, especially with a neon design. That big bit of depth, it just takes it to another level. And then what you need to do is put in some sort of like realistic supports. So the supports of the actual bars. So we go into here, create a new layer. You can use the soft brush, I think I used earlier. That's too big, something small. And then all these little gaps that you made, you just use them as like little supports. So you draw a line, not like that, probably a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter than that. I suppose we can lower the opacity down of the layer afterwards. And you just link it up to the shadow. If there's not a line, you'll have to just sort of manufacture one. And then this, and you can introduce like supports everywhere. You could introduce a support here on the corner. You don't necessarily have to always link them like on the edges, you know, where the gaps are, like here. Not necessarily always there, but just shows the elevation of the sign off of. Looks better over this side, to be honest with you, when you start to like drop some in like here, little one here, another one there, another one there. There's just lots of little smaller bits that you can add. Add one there. Not going to touch the mouth area there because annoyingly that kind of needs to sit like it's floating. So we put these little ones in here. Let's put put one down here, so like here. Just to make sure that each item does have one somewhere. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Just trying to make sure I've not missed a section anywhere. Maybe one here on the corner. Okay, that's cool. And then let's see what layer effects we can get away with, if there is any. That looks pretty good and absorbs a lot of the color, soft light. We don't want those lines to be too bright, but we want them to still be nice and visible. Maybe normal, just lower the opacity down, about 50. That looks pretty good. You can still see them in there, just creates that real awesome bit of depth. What's up, Mikey? Mikey? Is that right? Mikey? I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with names, so I apologise if I butchered that. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. And then we can go back to the top of the whole design and maybe add some sort of bright, glossy sort of lines in here, like lines sort of like metal. I'm not sure if it's going to look too much or not even look right. That does actually not look pretty good. Maybe even some nice features around the edge here. Maybe just little ones here and there. Good evening to you too. Maybe a little something like this. Maybe a little bit around the top there. This is really like get into the little bits that you can just add. Try not to overdo it. Thank you, I really appreciate that. Neon is becoming, well, it always has been my favourite to do, but again, like comparing the older neon stuff that I used to do to new neon stuff, little things you do as you go along. Just learning to create the I never put the shadow in behind a lot of the time before. The shadow, by the way, is the underside of the neon where it would be taped underneath a lot of the time. It would be sort of black on the underside and then your light source on the top a lot of the time. So I'm just putting a shadow in there. Also trying to show that maybe there's a light source sort of up here hitting the object and creating that little shadow. Either way, I don't really care. It looks really cool when you add the shadow in there. It just creates that level of depth. We could start maybe looking at like a couple of textures. You could even look at a drop shadow in here. To the whole design maybe. Just a generic sort of drop shadow in there. It just helps that just stand off a little bit on this edge. Trying to think what else we could do. The red turned out good in the end, so I just need to make a note, talking to myself again. This is the top colour, this is the colour that goes with it. So what we should do, just for logistics I guess, is go into here, get rid of this shadow, because there shouldn't be a shadow in there. Ah, not too far. That's looking cool. Marie says, I'm kind of shocked at this, blowing my mind really. I appreciate that. It's cool, very cool. very happy with how that came out. Red, again, it's a very tricky colour to try and work with neon, so I'm very pleased how the bars came out. Like I said, you get a little bit that the white accents, the little highlight accents on the actual original logo are now being sort of portrayed on their own standoff from the rest. We're not even considered the black area because it's just filler in the background. So I like the chamfered edge on the side. That's something new for these sort of signs. And you don't have to even do the neon on the front. You know, you could turn that all off. And you could just turn that into a 3D object if you really wanted to. But, you know, you'd end up having to... It'd be very boring if you add the stuff on top. Don't necessarily want to get into animation tonight, but that would be cool. The only thing I'm not quite sure of is these lines that run across the whole thing. No, actually. Maybe if we gauge and... What if we gauge and blur these out? Just diffuse them down a little bit. Cheers, Sam. Appreciate that. Anything else to add to it? Anything else? You could maybe this top layer here. Let's try it just to see, because this is a flat surface and we've gone for that chamfered edge on the sides and stuff. Is there anything we could add on top? Any sort of like, I'll have to look through everything I've got, but something like a metal sort of look to it. This would be interesting to see what this even looks like on top. But no, doesn't look right. Let's have a look. See, my imported section is just full, and things I just never use. Real fur. Why is this in there? I'll have to check that out in a minute. Things I never use. I could probably delete a lot of this. Right, sorry, let's keep looking. Let's see if there's some sort of texture that we can maybe add on the top. I checked out heavy metal earlier, and you'll see this come up in the new tutorial this weekend of how to use this effect properly. I think I did it in white. Yeah, so you could give it like a really dark, dingy, like very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, not eroded, but very... Yeah, I guess eroded look to it. You know, that's another way you could go about doing that. But that's not quite how I want the texture to look. And let's just continue on, just to see if I can find any others that I like the look of. I think I first discovered you on TikTok, my good old friend TikTok. Yeah, they don't push out my content quite as much anymore, but it's cool to see that you're still with us all the way from the TikTok, which is, I still post on there. It just doesn't do as well as it did before. I had 2 videos do very well, but admittedly, you know, me and Maria have spoken about this before, that you have to be very consistent with TikTok, and it's something I've learned quite a lot, that, you know, I was drawing 2 different designs a day and then just uploading them onto TikTok. With the beauty back then though was I was never doing it with the intention of making tutorials, so I could just draw freely and not worry in the slightest. Not have to. I could just draw. It didn't make any difference. I was just drawing for the algorithm at that point, and then everybody wanted YouTube tutorials, so here we are. That doesn't look awful, but it doesn't look quite right. I wonder if you layered that on top of itself, if you could get some darker looks in there. I'm going to keep that layer because I actually quite like that. just trying to see if there's one extra little thing we can add just to take it to that next level. Textures maybe. Oh, I'll tell you what I actually should do, and I know where it is. What we'll add that little extra je ne sais quoi is the lens flares. Where have they gone? Not quite those. Damn, I need to get rid of some of these brushes. Lens flares. See those little lens flares in there? Some nice little touches, but we need to change the layer effect. There is one that just allows a little bit of the color through. I think it is overlay. I really love a massive lens flare when the beams are really sort of pushed very horizontal. I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to do. Maybe actually scrap that. I always do this. I always say in my designs, yep, that's the last thing, and you're done, and then you're not done. There's still more. Just little sparkles on the edges just to show how bright those edges actually are. Yeah, that's cool. Don't want to add too many, but I don't want to do too little. They look really good on the outside. I might get rid of some of the ones that sit above on top of all of this. I've been told consistency is better than frequency, but yes, they do love you to post quite a lot. Yeah, they do. I mean, unfortunately, because of the way it works, obviously in comparison to, of course, Instagram. You know, Instagram, I post every day pretty much, other than no, I post Monday. No, scrap that. I post every day on Instagram because I can post an image. Of course, now you can do stories as well. I'm not sure if that makes any difference to the algorithm, but it yeah, it's so what was I getting at? Yeah, it's just like Instagram. I'm flying on Instagram. I only hit 30k the other. Literally did a design for it last week. I'm now at 31. So it's like just, I guess consistency works a lot better over there than it does on TikTok. But it's unfortunate. But it is what it is. It's where it got me to sort of where I am today. So can't hit on it too much. I've just realised I turned off the shadow, and that's why it looked so bizarre. God, doesn't that make all the difference? I was looking at it like, something doesn't look quite right. This whole space looks really empty. And I was like, yeah. Pop those shadows back in there. And that takes it to, again, I always say this, but it takes it to that next level. Marie, you also brush heavy. And I think your other comment there says, yeah, I'm like 3 brush, sure, too many brushes to count. I used to do exactly the same. And I'm always downloading brushes just in case I ever think, yeah, I want to do that type of design for a tutorial. I know a brush set that I've got on hand, so it's always there. Kevin says, "Lol, you can say that again. You can say that again. I have so many brushes. I don't think I need more than about 25% of them. Absolutely." Milo says, "Love the flares. They look pretty cool, don't they? Nice little accents on it." And Kevin said, "Better watch out, Joel. The Stones are going to hire you for their next album cover. That'd be pretty sick, wouldn't it? That would be cool." My dad would be so proud if that actually happened. That's really funny you say that, because when I drew this earlier, I was like, imagine it. I drew this like earlier today. I thought, do you know, how cool would it be if they actually just went, oh, can we actually use that as the logo for an album cover? I'd be like, yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be so cool. And then I thought exactly the same process. I was like, oh, my dad would be super proud. Is it Miriam? Miriam? It says, whoa. Kevin, if there's one thing I would like to see improved in Procreate, it would be the brush management. Actually, this picture looks like the greatest hits cover to me. You could buy the new Stones Lego art. Oh, cool. Oh, did I tell you I got my new tattoo yesterday? Let me know in the chat if you have listened to the song No Matter What by Badfinger. Let me know in the chat. There's one thing that's bugging me actually about this design, and I just spotted it. It's just me being me, and I probably won't even like what I'm about to do. But it's the edge just looks a bit empty on the top layer. So if I just, see now I've already added just a 1 pixel line that just runs around that edge, and to me that already looks bang on. It's bang on what I wanted it to do. I think if you just very lightly just blur that in around the whole edge of the design, I think that's just about enough just to give it that extra look. Yeah, let's do that. Let's leave it like that and then lower the opacity down. You've not heard of that song? It's Fair Dues. Fair Dues. It's a fairly retro one, so I'm interested who. I mean, Kevin is like an encyclopedia. I'm sure he would. Yeah. See, there you go. I knew he would know what it is. Well, I got No Matter What tattooed on my ankle because I've got one on one ankle and one on the other. So now it matches up. It's nice and even. In like a typewriter style font. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sore. I'm not going to lift my foot up and into the screen. Husband loves that song. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song. It's the song we had from my dad at his funeral. Beautiful song. I love it. Beautiful lyrics as well. When I went to get it tattooed, some guy randomly walked in and was like, "Oh, you're a Westlife fan, are you?" And I was like, no, don't say that. It's not that. No matter what they tell us. It's like, no, it is absolutely not that. So annoying. Okay, that came out sick. Let's quickly before I forget. It's a great song, great song. Let me show you something that I've been working on, which is fine, you can see it now. Of course, you would have seen potentially that I have released my own sticker sets, own brushes, so you'll see this come up soon. So this is like a really cool demo of how this can work. So there's a really simple design coming up soon, just on YouTube. Very super beginner friendly, but it was going to be used as a showcase for the stamps. So you've got this one here with this very very creased, very slim creased, very kind of a worn sticker look to it. So that's one of the sticker brushes, and they're brushes and they repeat as well. So of course you can scale them up and down as you wish, and they'll just repeat nice and easily. We've then got this style one, which has a very horizontal crease to it, a bit of a softer little crease in there, a bit more like it's almost got that like kind of glossy look to the top of it almost, because the highlights and shadows, the way they're set up. So that's another brush, of course. There's 4 in the collection if you've not seen it yet. And then there's the final one, which is this one here. This one's one of my favorites, being the fact you get these nice big creases that come in from the sides. and then some occasional smaller ones, but it looks super cool and realistic in a sense, and you get that really beautiful 3D look to it. So yeah, that's part of a four pack of brushes that you can download from my Gumroad. If you haven't seen it, there's a link in my bio to on Instagram. Otherwise, I think it's joel.create.gumroad. I think it is. Gumroad. If anyone could do that for us and grab the link, that would be amazing. But mountains or hills. Oh, hang on, I think I've got it. I've got it anyway, and I'll put it in the chat for you. Copy link. Open browser. Open the browser. Let's open this up for you. Pop this in the chat. Wait, it's joelcreate.gumroad.com. There you go. That's all I can do. The chat's not opening up for me. But if you're interested, there's a link in my bio. There's a link on my website. You can go ahead and grab these. But 4 cool brushes that you can use, and a nice little showcase for that, which is nice. If you're interested what this weekend's YouTube tutorial is, you would have seen it already if you were here last week or the week before I believe it was, where we did a 3D mandala design. That's going to be this weekend's tutorial. Again, kind of going with that 3D look, very kind of close to the angle of the Rolling Stones one we just did. Let me just flick that round and go back to the Rolling Stones one before we finish up. Oh, so hang on. Oh, that doesn't look anywhere near as good. Yeah, smashed it. Oh yeah, let's flip this around. Cool. So that's what we ended up drawing today. If anyone's got any questions, let me know. I'm just going to hang out for a couple of minutes, but otherwise we'll be wrapping it up pretty soon. This, like I said, if you're interested, this is going to be a tutorial on Patreon next month, late in the month. I would need to record this probably Friday this week. It'll be ready and in the queue for Patreon. We've got some sick stuff coming next month. And I know I say this every time, but I mean it, because it's always sick. But we've got some really cool stuff coming next month on Patreon. We've got a micro world design. We've got another showcase of a landscape, really nice snowy mountain design, and then we're going to have this. So this is going to be the real topper right at the end of the month. Wendy, hi, I'm a little too late. It's my first time here. Wendy, it's lovely to see you in here. We do these live streams every Wednesday, but it's my fault. It's not your fault. I'm early today. Typically, I'm in the UK. Well, not typically. I am in the UK, but typically I come on between 8 and 9 UK time. This week I was on a little bit earlier. I got on about 7:30, I think it was. Yeah, about 7:30ish. If not slightly earlier than that. So it's only a shorter stream today, but usually they go on from between 8 and 9 and can go up to like midnight a lot of the time. Stephen says, love the effect. I done your Easter egg tutorial the other week. It's a beautiful tutorial, that one. I appreciate you dropping in the chat as well, showing some love. Yeah, I'm typically in the UK, but I'm like Pitbull. I'm like Mr. 305. I'm Mr. No, what is it? Mr. Worldwide. That's it. Mr. Worldwide. Although next week, end of the week, I'll be in Amsterdam, which is cool. Not live streaming, of course, just hanging with the boys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there then. Let's get rid of those hairs off the screen. I'm going to wrap it up there. Keep an eye out for the tutorial that's coming out on Friday, the 3D mandala design. Mr. Worldwide, baby. Yeah, new design coming out on Friday, of course. The 3D mandala tutorials every Friday. Live streams every Wednesday. So if you're new here on a Wednesday, you want to just come and hang out. I typically just draw. Most of the time, what you see in the tutorial, in the live streams, I end up pretty much doing as a tutorial later on, whether it be that week on YouTube or later on Patreon. Depends on where it goes to. This particular one will be on Patreon next month. Although I'm debating actually putting it on YouTube, because I feel like that something like that would be banging. Like that would do really well. Maybe. I feel like that would fly on YouTube. But do we do something different on YouTube? Do the same but different? Maybe. Steven says put it on YouTube. Everybody, I knew that. I shouldn't have said that out loud, should I? I knew that was going to happen. But I've already said this would probably be on Patreon. But a new neon design is most definitely needs to come on to YouTube pretty soon. Because again, just doing things differently, just adding little bits and bobs, and we can all start to add these to our repertoire, continue to just make them even better. Rather than flat designs, we enter something really cool in 3D. You've got the little supports in here now, just to show that the sign's, you know, elevated above. You also create that distance between the edge of the design up here and the actual base shape. So just to really make it stand off. Do the Ghostbusters. It's not a bad idea. Something cool like that. A ghost kind of shape would be cool. That would be cool. Cool. So I'm going to wrap it up there. New tutorial will be out on Friday. New tutorial also went live today on Patreon. So if you're interested in joining Patreon, you get access to all the tutorials when you do join. And the new one came out today where you can create these really, really cool 3D portraits like this. And it works for most photos. You just need good highlights and shadows. You can create these really, really cool 3D. And if you zoom in, like on the edges, you've got these beautiful crisp lines. I think it was Stephen that mentioned about the Easter tutorial. Very kind of similar process to that. But you end up with these awesome, awesome 3D portraits. And again, you can use most photos for this. I've done a few. Let me just flick it around. Every time I do something like this, I always try and test it on other things as well, so that what I'm saying is accurate. You know, it does work on other things. And so, oh, also here's an example of my sticker collection using Charlie as an example. So using him, I cut his face out, just added a white outline. You can see, look how cool that looks with the 3D-ness of my brushes that you can use. Just makes it look just so much more 3D, so much more 3D, so much more realistic. Let me just quickly switch it around again, just to show you what that looks like with the latest tutorial, but with another example of another face. So here's another example. This one is arguably cooler because his eye on the left hand side is, this side of his face was completely shadowed. So if anything, you're only left with this. Look, I mean, just look at the shapes. You're only left with these tiny little shapes. But when you zoom out, they create his whole face. It's mad. It's so cool. But you create these really cool effects. Even when you zoom right in on the eyes, you can see all the crisp edges on them and all the layers stacked on top of each other. But this is arguably my more favourite one, because out of the two, again, because you creating his whole face by only doing half of it. It's just a really confusing thing to kind of put into words, and like, I just think it looks really cool. It's really, really cool. So let me just catch up. Like Milo said, if you're new here, come and join us on Discord. You can come and join in with my community over there. Lots of beautiful, beautiful people. Everybody positive and enjoying the community of other creative people in Procreate. So come and join the Discord. There's a link in the description to the Discord. It's completely free. Just joining in with the community. Wendy says there, you're on my list for Patreon. I want to support some other creators too, but I'm not sure who. Wendy, if you're interested, Tati Works, wonderful, wonderful work that Tati creates. I believe there's lots of brushes as well you can get. Of course, the queen of this space, which is Art with Flow. I don't know what she posts over there at the minute, because I think she stopped posting them on Instagram, so you'd need to join to see. Who else do we have, folks? We have James Julia, fantastic work. I don't know what his Patreon includes, mind, but Tatty is a great shout, and I would say a good 50% of my patrons all support Tatty as well. So definitely worth a look over there. Definitely worth a look. Yeah, so again, that's like I said, like Wendy was saying there, it's good to see some more examples. Just works nicely with most photos. You just need something with good highlights and good shadows. That's all you need, and it'll work out nicely. Steve said, what's your favorite design? That's a good question. That is a good question. It fluctuates. Sometimes it's just things that I'm doing recently because I enjoy them so much. This is one of my favorites, which was one of the Patreon tutorials from last month or this month. God, I can't remember anymore. This month. This is one of my favorites. This includes my brushes for the landscapes. Just a very cool landscape design. But if I actually show you some other stuff that I've worked on in the past, favorite designs. I think arguably one of my favorite designs is probably one of my more famous ones, I guess, if you want to. Famous is a bit of a naff word to try and use there, to be honest with you. But one of my favorite ones would be this one. That was my third tutorial on YouTube. Third one, a tutorial on YouTube, so if you want to check that one out, you can follow along with this one. But so keep this in your mind, this stemmed from another design which got like 3 million views on TikTok, which was this one is stuck here. I'm gonna have to scroll back here. Where did we get to? Oh, here it is. This is so cool. This is probably one of my favorite, mainly because it also gives me a bit of nostalgia of a time where I was drawing for drawing and just learning, but also getting a lot of joy and fun out of being a content creator on TikTok for it. So yeah, it's probably one of my favourite ones, just because it's quite clean. It's quite Charlie. Just pulled my headphones out. I can't hear anything now. Good job we didn't yank my drink across the floor, across the top. Because it's quite clean and simple and minimal. There's not a lot going on to it, but it says a lot without saying a lot, to be honest. What's up, Claire? How you doing? Good to see you. Abigail Bixer is a new one for you. I've not heard of her before. Milo says, Wendy, you are in the right place with Joel. You will learn a lot in each tutorial. I appreciate that, Milo. Have you done anything cyberpunk? I do a lot. I like a lot of synthwave stuff, if that's kind of close, but not specifically cyberpunk in itself. But I like a lot of sort of synthwave stuff. That kind of reminds me of newer stuff that I've drawn, I guess. I mean, you saw maybe the retro vibes one that I did yesterday. I do like a neon design, but believe it or not, they don't actually come that frequently. I really enjoyed this one as well. That was always a fun one to do. Just like you get this cool like 3D depth effect inside the text. It kind of looks like one of those infinity mirrors. If you like flower drawings, try every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, so as she says, posts every Tuesday, so worth checking out. Still no iPad, Claire. Whew. How you coping? I left my second fave man to come see my fave. Who's your first? Your partner. And Wendy, thanks Milo. Tomorrow I want to draw something from Joel's channel. I haven't done that yet. Oops. I did one about with Flow and Tatty Works. Well, we all have different flavours and whatnot, Wendy, which is brilliant. Like you as a consumer of the content is awesome. You get so many people's different perspectives on things. I tend to do, I like. Someone said to me the other day, you tend to do more not masculine designs, but you do more boyish stuff.
to be classical from back, you know, more traditional boyish stuff, I guess. You know, like I like to do neon, I like to do space stuff. The space one actually that we did recently was pretty cool. The space one we did with the Saturn style one, that was a pretty cool one to do, which is this one. Like, I really just enjoyed how that came out. It's just super easy and simple, but again, says a lot without doing a lot, which is cool. How did you know how to do it? What do you mean, Stephen? Sorry. This Neon City. Oh yeah, the Neon City one, the part 2 actually on Patreon. That's a good idea, Milo. The part 2 on Patreon, which was fire. This was a pretty fun one to do because the part 1 of this is on YouTube, and then part 2 is adding in like these sort of holographic signs on the side of the building. You see how they've got like their blue and red color accents are split from one another all across, and we just added in a bunch of sort of different designs. This one sort of wraps around the top of the building over here. We then end up with like the spiral floating sort of stuff, but that was a pretty fun one to do. That was a part 2 that's on YouTube. So you do part 1 on YouTube and part 2 on Patreon if you want to do it again. And Elizabeth said, I'm popping to say hi and bye. We'll check in again later if I can. It's no problem, Elizabeth. I'll be signing off shortly anyway. Milo loves the space stuff. Loved the other brown buildings one. Brown buildings? What was that? Stephen, how did you know to create what you create on Procreate? Excuse the sentence. Again, I kind of explained this at the beginning a little bit, in a sense that I've always been in digital art in some form, whether it's Procreate or Photoshop or anything like that. So I in my mind understands how to create concepts based on the tools that are available. So creating the 3D depth within the text is as simple as just clipping a layer to the text. That's all it is. Who's changed your like autocorrect, Claire, from neon to brown? They're not even close. Well, I suppose E and W close. What the heck? But yeah, it's understanding the tools that, sorry, Stephen, to understand the tools that are available to you and how you can go about sort of manipulating them into what you want to create. But I like 3D concepts. I like to create neon sort of vibes. It's interesting to say what's your favorite design, because a lot of the time I have designs that are fresh in their mind, so I really like them. But other times I have designs where, you know, just because they're fresh, they feel nice, like they feel good. Because again, I always feel like I'm moving, I'm always pushing forward. This was another design. Again, this one's on Patreon. I'll show you some other YouTube ones in a second. But this one was a simple one again, but I like the concept, and it also uses my dust brush just to create this cool like speckled effect, and that's very popular within the Procreate space. So I would say Patreon wise, my favorite tutorial, it's going to be the Rolling Stones one if I'm honest, but otherwise would be maybe some of the landscapes that we've been painting more recently, and maybe one of the ones that's coming next month. And then YouTube wise, let me have a look. I can get to here and show you because that's not going to reveal anything. The Orca was always a fun one to do. I really liked how that came out because the blue, the marble brush inside the water, it just looks so cool. The starfish one's a great one. Maria, that's a great tutorial. I love that one as well. Again, we drew that live on stream, and then that just came out as a tutorial. This little guy here. So there was a brush set that I was really keen to use. It was like an underwater star set. So underwater brush set, sorry. And I wanted to see how I could use it in some way. So I thought in my mind, well, I'll tell you what, starfish, we can see how we get on. You get the cool wave, you get the underside of the waves, and obviously the light rays from above. So yeah. Will I be doing any animal designs anytime soon? It's a good question. I've not thought about it, to be honest with you, Mira, but it's something I could definitely do. It just depends on what it is, and I have to simplify a lot of things down to sort of to an easy sort of concept. Let's not go too much further there because I can't show you too many more things up there just yet. This one's always a favourite, actually, only because of the colour scheme. I think the colour scheme just looks really cool, silhouette within a silhouette. It's quite nice work. Let's drop out of here, and then this is one of my favourites, but it did very poorly on YouTube. It's a negative space one. This is one of my favourites, but just didn't do very well. I don't know why. I think it looks quite cool. It's a bird's house on the side of a tree. But yeah, it's got like a cool running texture through it. I think it's because it's maybe slightly long. That's maybe what it is. That was a fun one to do. These older ones already, just like I said, give me some nostalgia because they're just so cool to look back on and just think, you know, maybe what would you do differently this time. This is the funniest one, and this is what I'll wrap up on. This one here, I had no design in my mind. I had no design ready to go. I had no palette. I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing prepared in the slightest. I just said, I'm gonna go record a video and I'll do it all on the fly. And I had none of it prepped. So every time you see a tutorial, I've drawn it already before, know what to do, and then I draw it again under recording. And then this bugger got like 20,000 views or something on YouTube, and it's like my second most popular video, and it's one I never put any time into. It's never anything I practice. It was just, I was doing a lot of the space stuff at the time. I really needed to get a video out. Bang, drop all the trees across the front, draw a planet, duplicate it, flip it, smudge it, drop a bunch of brushes in the background, and there you go. So yeah, this one was, I mean, it looks cool. It looks really cool, but it's got like 16,000 views or something. Second most popular video, and it's done really well. Perhaps a cute otter or squirrel. That's a good idea. I've drawn a squirrel before. I'll show you. This will be the last thing I wrap up on. I've drawn a squirrel before. I've just seen Charlie's head pop up because I said the word squirrel. Charlie? You see him? Oh, there you are. Would you like to come and say hello this time, but without pulling the wire out? Yeah, this wire. Come on in. Oh. Come say hello. No. What's that? Oh, and Daisy's here. Charlie, off. Daisy. Daisy, up. No, Charlie, off. Stop the music. Can I get on the keyboard? Daisy, sweetie. Come on. Charlie, back. Daisy, up. Daisy, up. Daisy. No, come here. Oh, oh, Jesus. Look how tall she is. Oh, off you get. Off you. Oh! Oh! Right, last one I'll show you is this little squirrel I drew back in 2020, I guess. I'd like to get into a little bit more of this. Oh, and this is actually something you'll see me do a lot more in the future. And we talk about trying to find your style quite a lot on with Procreate. This is something I'm going to start doing more, which is the foreground is nice and blurred out. You have your main focus, and then maybe the background's completely blurred. But this is something I will be replicating again in the future with the blurred out foreground, like I did in the latest sort of Patreon landscape tutorial, because I like it. You don't have to do a lot for this foreground stuff here. It doesn't matter. It just gets blurred out like crazy anyway. But you then focus all your attention. So all you're really drawing is this. And you save yourself a lot of time. You just got to flick the sort of brush up to create the sort of grass at the front. And zooming in, you've got some really nice little details in here, like with the squirrel and whatnot. So you've got the fur running through that. That's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, this is what I drew back in 2020. So I would like, it'd be interesting to see how that would come along, but nice little details in the hands as well. What even happened with this one? I think I created the background. Yeah. So just creating the background is nothing. The background is literally just some shapes. What's up, Jay? Oh, I'll tell you what you did. I'll wrap up with what you missed today. We're just showing a design of an animal. A second, but just drawing in the squirrel. Then it'll come to life. Keep doing the fur. Keep doing the fur. Keep doing the fur. Again, build up on yourself. Do your foundations first, and then add highlights right at the end. Just to something like this. It's just reminiscent, yeah. Okay, let's hit done on this. Let's just quickly flick it around to show what Jay missed, and then we're done. So this is what I drew today, Jay. It is a little summer, a little 3D neon design. Probably coming to Patreon end of next month. But just practicing again, lots of things that I've taught you already, and just little bits and bobs here and there that are just gonna take sort of your designs to the next level. 3D shampoo look, 3D depth to the neon, the little support beams in here just to really make it stand off. Just an overall really fun design. It looks really cool. Looks really, really cool. Kevin said, I wasn't going to get your sticker brush set. Boo. Because I have so many brushes. It's all good, it's all good. But I thought it was something to do with you tagged in my Instagram post. Oh, sick, sick. When did you buy them? Did you buy them just now? Or did you buy them the other day? I assume you just bought them now because it's gone up. It's gone up a sale. So if you did, I really appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you for the support. And the brushes are sick. Yes, a long time ago, Maria, that squirrel, so it's nowhere near YouTube, but it could be. It could be. Yeah, I've done. Jay, I was on a bit earlier today, to be honest. It's not your fault, man. I bought them but can't use them. I was about to ask why, as if there was a problem with them, but it's your iPad. I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I'm so sorry. I understand what I was talking about now. What's your plan? Are they going to fix it for you? Jake, you can always go back with a YouTube live stream and watch the whole thing back later on. Or if you stay on the stream now, you can rewind it right now and then watch it from there, because otherwise the video will take a little while to load back up. Also, Jay, you did miss the demo of the stickers that I've currently got. Who's this? Oh, why did that show so low there? Oh no, we missed that. Somebody joined our Patreon. Somebody joined and we missed it. Oh, what happened there? Why did that do that? I'll see if I can reload that in a second. This sticker brush set is present here. So if you've only just joined the stream, I launched my sticker brush set today. Oh, Wendy, it was you. Sorry, it didn't pop up on the screen. Wendy, welcome. I saw the welcome to the family gif, so you got that, but it didn't show your name. But thank you for joining the family, Wendy, over on Patreon. Enjoy the tutorials, and let me know if you need anything at all. But this is one of the brushes, so you turn the whole design from a flat design into a 3D brush. So this texture here that you're seeing is all part of the brush set that I've made. So you've got that one. You also have this one here, a bit more of a sort of glossy look to the sticker in a way. You've got the sort of horizontal creases in here. And then if we go from that one to this one here, this is my favorite. You get the big creases on the outer edges, and then these few more that just dip in here and there, and they're really, really awesome for creating sort of making a flat design go from to 3D. And you can get them available at it's joelcreate.gumroad.com. So joelcreate.gumroad.com if you want to go and check it out. And like Marie says, if you can like the video, that would be amazing. That helps me out a bunch. And what we're going to do is going to wrap it up there, folks. We're going to wrap it up there. Wendy, again, welcome to the family over on Patreon. If you want to join my Patreon, there's a link in the description down below. Come and get access to loads more tutorials over there. Claire says going to be busy with all those new tutorials, Wendy. Absolutely. And Joel, Claire says just going to live to 1, so it might be a while. And Jay, appreciate that with the congratulations on the brush set. Appreciate that. Yes, 4. There's actually 4. There's another one that I've not demoed here, so you can go check them out, Jay, if you want to. They're very versatile as well, because you can also paint with them in the dark color, like I've done there, or flip it around and paint with the white and give it a really glossy look. So I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. Listen, I appreciate every single one of you for dropping into the live stream today, whether you're a newcomer or you're here regularly. I appreciate every single one of you, because if you guys aren't here, I'm not here, so I appreciate you dropping in. And to all the new patrons, thank you for joining. Have some fun with the tutorials. We do these live streams every Wednesday, typically between 8 and 9 UK time. Today I'm a little bit early, but keep an eye on a Wednesday, roughly around about this sort of time on my Instagram. You'll see a link to it pop up, or when you subscribe down below, turn on the little bell beside it and you'll get a notification every time I go live. So we do these every Wednesday. It's just a hangout. You get to know me a little bit more rather than the voice behind the camera a little bit. And we just hang out. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your morning, evening, lunch, bedtime, lunchtime, dinner time, whatever you're getting up to. It doesn't matter. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you again next week. Keep an eye out for the tutorial on Friday. And thank you. I appreciate every single one of you.